Hey, Steve Mignani here doing the Junkyard Crawl at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardston, Massachusetts. And one thing I love about junkyards is not just the cars, but the vans, because in many cases, junkyard owners use vans as safe storage spots for stuff inside. So as I like to say, there's gold in them thar vans. And in the case of this old beast right here, some cool stuff. This in particular looks like just an old bucket seat, right? Well, this is actually from a Jeep CJ or a Dodge A100, or, not that you're gonna find it in the junkyard, a 64 or 5 Dodge or Plymouth Race Hemi sedan, or a 68 Hemi Dart or Barracuda. Yes, they all use the same basic seat, which was made not by Chrysler, but rather by a company called Bostrom. And this is called a thin line seat. And these seats right here, a guy named Rob Ball Interiors sells red, champagne, or black seat covers and foams, and this Jeep seat can be repurposed for use in a Super Stock Mopar clone. Now, getting back to that whole Bostrom thing, this is Fleet Owner magazine, data book from 1957 right here. This is mostly about trucks and, you know, big rigs and stuff like that. You know, but anyway, yeah, like this kind of cool stuff right here, old Ford C cabs and whatnot. But Bostrom actually ran an ad right here for Bostrom truck seats. Oh, healthy truck drivers mean healthier profits. And Acres Motor Lines keeps drivers in top shape by providing Bostrom level ride truck seats. And we can see here that picture, that's the steel tubular frame. Now, this is a more exotic truck seat with spring-loaded cushioning and a ride. But the thin line was Bostrom's basic offering. And again, it's what Mopar used in all the race Hemi cars and Jeep CJs, and of course, yes, Dodge A100 and A108 vans. But again, inside this van right here, some Super Stock gold. Another little detail right here on the ground, this is an aluminum brake drum. Now, this is not a Buick piece. That would be 12 inches, this big monster. This is a 9.5-inch drum from either a 65 or 66 GTO or a 66 through 70 Buick GS. Now, these drums, you can see it has an integrally cast iron friction liner. And again, these are not to be confused with the Pontiac 8-lug wheel, which is a whole different thing, only on full-sized, or again, the Buick 11-inch drums, which were on the fronts of large Buicks from 59 through 69. And again, these are specific to GTOs in 65 and 66, or again, Grand Sport Buick 66 through 70. And again, the beauty of these things is they're light, and these are so rare. When these were on GTOs, front only, they were painted red. But again, the rear drums, which are iron, were also painted red. So when you got the brake drum option on your GTO, red drums, front and rear, signified the aluminum's up front. And speaking of that, here is Car Life magazine right here, November 1966, with a really cool ad inside showing all the different brake options and packages. We see it right here. Hang on a second, the wind's blowing around. And there it is, right there. And we see here in those circled areas right there, the green Buick used the self-finned aluminum drums. There it is right there. And of course, the GTO also had them. Now, GTO dropped the aluminum front drums after 1966 because for 67, they finally offered a front disc brake option, the Delco Moraines. Not standard on GTO, but optional. But over at Buick, they actually offered the aluminum drums on the front of GS 455s and even GS 350s till 1970. I've seen a 1970 GS 455 with the aluminum drums up front. But again, these things are so rare and so desirable. And it's kind of weird too, because the hub is actually pressed in place, as are the studs. So it's not really something that's easily serviced. When these things are worn out, you're in trouble. But this still has plenty of meat on it. This thing right here is very desirable to a GTO or a Grand Sport restorer right there. So again, found near an old van. And finally, we all know that General Motors sort of debuted the Polycast Wheel with urethane styling on the front with the Monte Carlo in 73. And of course, the Pontiac Firebird could be had with the honeycomb wheel with Polycast. What is Polycast? Well, this is a Mercury Tempo or Topaz wheel. And if you look at the spokes on this, it looks like aluminum. Well, not so fast. That is a urethane face, which is bonded to a steel wheel. And again, the Topaz was built between 1984 and 94. And for the first few years, the Topaz GS came with optional Polycast wheels. Now this is a 13, but we can see it's nothing more than a stamped steel wheel with these little holes in the back. But again, that Polycast sort of styled effect is bonded to it. And I gotta say, they did a pretty good job, because these things, I've never seen them delaminate, and you can try and peel it and it won't come off. But it's kind of weird, a rubber wheel. It's not about safety. It's purely about simulating the look of an aluminum wheel for a fifth of the cost. And getting back to that whole thing, the Ford Escort also offered its own version of that. This is a 1988 Ford Escort dealer brochure. And we can see here in the back of this thing, the optional, that circled wheel on the right, that is the styled road wheel for the Escort GL. And the face of that thing, you can stick your fingernails into it. It too is Polycast. And up here on the left-hand side, 14-inch Polycast wheels, optional on the luxury coupe version of the Escort. Imagine that, an Escort luxury coupe. Yeah, right, contradiction in terms. But again, the whole idea of simulating the look of aluminum for a fraction of the cost is what Polycast wheels were all about. And again, we often associate these with like 73 Chevy Monte Carlos, which had sort of a similar look. And of course, the Pontiac Trans Am in 74, 75 could be had with the honeycomb wheel with the urethane face. But Ford did it too. So that's the thing, man. Junkyards, they're more than just cars. Always look inside of vans and school buses for hidden treasures. Now, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Magazine YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow with lots more.